urgency that I feel like I need to write. And it just keeps
When was that, Mom?
pushing.
At what point in your life?
All my life, like I was going through my things, and I found a diary from when I was 11 years old, and I was laughing so hard because I was so honest, and I was like, you know what, I need to get that back, because as we get refined in our language and we don't want to hurt people, and because that's the hard part too, is like autobiography, memoir, you know, you're digging up all this stuff, and I'm a vault of secrets. Like, I have some weird stories that I will never tell, right? But I'm like, how can I do this in a creative way, you know?
Yeah. So when Maiko was young, like.
That's my stepmom, by the way.
She would make these long stretches of paper and illustrate and write the stories to go along with, you know, whatever her story, usually very humorous, but also thoughtful.
Thanks. I've been with her, she's been my stepmom since I was 8 years old. And she broke her ankle recently, so I really appreciate you coming here. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, mine came to me, of course, when I was a sophomore in high school. I was floating through life, didn't know anything. I mean, I was life wasn't even there. And then my teacher gives me an A on the paper. Hey, maybe I'm good at something.
Yeah.
And then the journalism teacher from the school, the overseer of the high school newspaper, came and said, hey, how would you like to write for the base newspaper? What? Maybe I can be good at something. And I did it, and that's what woke me up. It woke me up for my whole life, you know. This is what I could do. I'm going to do it, and I love doing it.
And,
Teachers make a difference.
Yes, I agree.
and practically from birth, I was surrounded by creativity, by people that were rich in life. And it was a compulsion to record. I didn't like writing, I didn't like having to, but I loved when that compulsion came. It came with energy. And
Yes.
so I always had more energy after than when I started. So, but there was, you know, I've written all, before I could write, I was writing, because I could tell the stories. I couldn't write them, but I had them. And then when I started writing, it was even more powerful and more life-giving. So I feel so blessed to have had the opportunities to be with people that were capable of sharing in many different ways and at very deep levels. So obviously I feel like that has made me who I am, and I like who I am.
It's like a superpower.
Yeah.
I'm liking you, Doranne, too.
I have to say, for me, you know, I always wanted to be published, right? And I slogging away for the paper, I had to write, so I wasn't making a decision. I also felt for many years that emotionally or wisdomly, I was incomplete, immature. I didn't have anything really important to say to people or to entertain people with. So I wrote in a journal and so on. But the time that I really, after I retired, I thought, I think I'm ready now, because I tell stories about my life to people, because I wanted to write about an ex-reporter who had this wild, funny, interesting life. And I thought, I think I can, and I was pretty old. I mean, I'll be 80, in 2 weeks? So, but I was like 70, late 60s when it came to me that come on, how much more time do you need? You have what it takes. And it was uncontrollable. There was this, it was just, you all said this, I just couldn't help myself, and the pressure, was there. So I went to a mystery writing workshop at Ashland and met an author that has written several hard-boiled crime novels, and I admired his work, and I said, let's start a writing group. I really feel colleagues and compatriots that can look at your work and give you, that really gave me a kick. I knew I was ready, and then had some comrades to help me into that. So, unknowing. And you probably are ready before you know it. Maybe you have to just leap.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have a parachute, you don't
Another
know.
question here?
Whoops, sorry. As a writer with ADHD, I've written 1 million stories, or started 1 million stories and finished very few. How do you finish stories and how do you get them published? For everybody.
I don't think I'm ADHD. I've never been told I am, but I have a lot of stories that I've never finished. I have files full of stories, and you know what? After you get for a time, you listen to who's ever speaking to you, and you go back and you do some more. And if you don't finish, it's okay. You just keep going. Do the next story until that little voice that speaks to you says, "Go back and do that one." I have a Western that I started 3 years ago, and I want to finish it, but boy, I got everything else to do, But one of these days, that little voice is going to speak to me and say, "Go back and do that one." And I'm going to finish it, or I'm going to get close to finish it. Never feel guilty about how far you are along with the project. Just keep enjoying making it.
And I think
He is
what's-
an editor too.
Yes, I think now is the best time. I'm so glad you're here because we have the variety of these different writers groups. There are writer coaches, there are editors, there are people that will take you by the hand. Because it's just, we're here at Club Northwest. Hello, how many people love to exercise every day? Most of us need a place to go, a time to go, a teacher, somebody. So you find a writing group or a partner, an accountability, somebody. Even Maiko's group that meets here, just knowing that you're gonna come every month and there's gonna be other writers and they're gonna wanna know. So whatever, pick whatever works best for you. And the ADHD is certainly very familiar, I think, for most of us. And we can understand that. Yeah, there we go. See, there's head nodding all over the place. So, you can pick a coach. And there's so many tools. Like on a computer, there's like a little timer, start timer, stop timer. There are things you can do, tools that you can use.
Yeah, good and bad.
I agree. I think that getting together with other writers, getting involved in a writer's group, and also taking classes. Like I'm taking classes, right? I took a memoir class. I don't know if Ann Schroeder's here today, but she is part of AIM and she taught it here. And I learned so much. I took a journalism class through Diana Kugel, and I had so many blind spots, right? So like if you have, and I don't know, with the ADHD, some people are diagnosed, but sometimes people self-diagnose. And sometimes, like for me, because I could have probably been diagnosed as having ADHD because I'm like a Renaissance woman and I have so many interests. But working with other people and having me, okay, let's focus here. And also another thing that's helped me is meditation. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. You can start with 5 minutes and just sitting there, let your thoughts be there, listen to your breathing.
Yes. That's, you're dying to ask another question.
Just one last.
Okay, one last question. We need a break.
Well, maybe one just for Nancy there. Rocket Center, West Virginia, I happen to work in. I work for Hercules. We're the people that burned up the Cuyahoga River, burned the railroad place down. My company just, and I'd like your comment now looking back, from Oregon back to West Virginia.
It's quite a trip. It's quite a trip, quite a journey.
Oh my, I can only imagine.
Yes.
And the other half of the question, thank you, was how to get published. That's a big question, but the exciting thing is there's local publishers, there's Amazon, there's so many choices, and there are coaches who can guide you through that too. And it can be very simple. Pretty much anybody, somebody can help you through that process. So it literally can just be uploaded on Amazon and proof you're a publisher, you're a published author. Yeah, will anybody buy your book? That's why we have our authors and a marketing group to help our authors work together, because it's one thing to write, it's another thing to edit, it's another to get published, and then there's another whole world of marketing. So it's a big world out there, but it's fun.
Can I make one more thing?
Sure.
So the publishing thing, right? Like if you just start sharing your story and getting with groups, and you're gonna find your people. Like with this was just like a story on a page, right? That I wanted to, and I'm an artist, but I was like, I'm gonna find somebody else to illustrate this. And I started becoming open, and I started sharing this with people. And what happened was I got a hair modeling job for Nature 10, and I was like in 8 magazines for this hair modeling job, and they were writing down what my hobbies were. And so I said, well, I'm an artist, and one of the ladies who worked for Nature 10 said, I'm an artist too, and here's my website. And she was the real deal. Like she's done books and labels and big type of things, you know. And I said, well, maybe you could be my illustrator. And I sent her the story. She sent me a proposal. And I had no idea how to pay for this. She connected me with the editor and the page layout person. I started a GoFundMe, and somebody who I read my story to believed in me so much, sent me a big check to cover most of it. So it's about relationships.
There we go.
So just do it.
Just do it.
You're gonna find
There we go. So that's what we're here for. So it's 2:25, the next panel starts at 3, so you've got some chat time, talk to the authors, buy their books, have a snack, bring some more beer. See you back here at 3.
Yeah.
Well said. Thank you. Excellent.